Welcome to my lovely HP community and the 5D Collective. And to those who are new, Mystic Mentor, content creator, podcast host, but above all, inner child adult here. So it's a non traumatized, securely attached person who can self regulate independently of other. Okay, so empowered feminine, divine feminine, gut, heart, body, and divine masculine is what I call the mind that is integrated. Masculine the left mode, feminine the right. They work together because integration of the brain, restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating people are what the 5D collective of mystics, spiritual, mindfully living and loving people are all about here at HP. That's because I'm here as that. And so our community grows with those who know healing trauma is important and we don't have the projection. So we all will have different journeys of how we get to be our empowered feminines, and then those who are empowered masculines will know their own empowered feminine. And we consistently expand together and build those secure relationships that have no filters, no hidden thoughts or emotions or attempts to change one another, but rather our relationships strengthen thanks to the feelings of love that we mutually share, and then our mutual appreciation for the uniqueness that we bring into the room, as well as our mindful communication, which allows secure relationships, romantic and not, to be involving self-empowered people who welcome each other and those different belief systems, religious, political, all of it, to have intellectually nice interactions, but also to have conversations that do not include assumptions and positions or those emotional, immature reactions. So emotionally lazy people who could use Patrick Tiahan or Terry Real, but they ignore that. You're a securely attached person once you love yourself and then are able to, whether you're nervous or not, afraid or not, to present your thoughts and feelings from the ventral state. Okay, so we love to get to know each other from the mind, heart, self, and soul, for those of us who are of the spiritual community, and we love to share the soul, those of us who are spiritual, and also for mystic, my spiritual and mystic life, because I'm consistently tapping into, as you know, the sphere of consciousness, my own oversoul, the relational field. When I'm embarking on any type of relationship, I don't need to touch anyone. I'm a Reiki master, I'm a Akashic record reader, tarot card reader. I'm tapping into that which is a consistent, alive energy that involves everything from the Holy Spirit to the universal love transmission sessions to there's what's his name? There's another type of energy, I forget, reconnective healing. It's all, again, we use different words. I could use dark matter, dark energy, because for me, as Anima Mundi, as an empowered feminine, I will pick up on the different. It's like a little ocean that has different frequency. I don't have a question. That's why I'm an empowered feminine, because I know exactly what the download is telling me, and I will then allow myself to speak that. Okay, but that's the part of where it's fun to be able and share with that who is an empowered masculine counterpart, that which is something they may not embody or experience ever, but that they will be curious to know if they want to know the depths of that which is a mystic. And that's, again, not something they have to. We also don't box it up in any kind of fixed way. We allow ourselves to organize information, yes. And that's why for spirituality, it's all together. Science is all together. That's how I do it. And then they come together. And for personal development, I'm able to connect those dots of how integration of the brain, restored embodiment, self-awareness, accountability, regulation is the experienced, expanded version of the frequency you can be. And I'm going to break it down. That's for my mystics. Okay, so it's funny because a lot of the 4D collective, if only they'd hit the Patrick Tiahan door, they'd be a lot better at a certain point. They ignore mental, emotional mastery and physical mastery, and therefore they do not become more of the light body that they could be. They do not become more of the rainbow body, but they can go through experiences. I'm saying they don't expand because they don't ever become a differentiated self, because they don't own their sense of self. As long as your child parts are still child parts in their charge and you have not completely metabolized them, you'll not be a person who can embody the expanded version of you for the mystic community again. So let me get back to our also personal. We love securely attached men, women, and days to get to know each other from the mind, heart, self, and soul. And again, mystics and spiritual, we share mindfully our stories. They listen mindfully. And thanks to mindset, mindfulness, and mindset skills and practices and exercises and just living the lifestyle, we grow confidence, handle change with good stress, and have inner stillness while also raising that frequency to the enlightenment one, which is really amazing. And that's that I'm all you need is love. Okay, but you're embodying it, and you're embodying it because you're grounding yourself thanks to anchoring in ventral. I know all about how wonderful it is. Remember that the divine feminine, she is receptive, nurturing, and has the soft side. She allows us to express ourselves openly and helps us to connect to our intrinsic understanding of our connection to all of creation. It's your inner child adult. That's because the body is what this is, okay? And that's why somatics and somatic therapists, they're awesome to learn from. Divine masculine is the mind, but it'll only be divine masculine when it's integrated. Otherwise, like I said, the left mode and the very unimpressive masculine, which is ego, will be there. And that's where all the 4D3D are at, because they're in their little protector zones. And I'm going to leave that to the side. So the frequency of the divine masculine supports our strong, focused, and active side, allowing it to express itself while helping us to bring our dreams and ideas into form with kindness and wisdom. You can only have divine masculine if you have divine feminine. The absence of divine feminine, you don't have a divine masculine. You're just going to have a masculine or a distorted feminine, and they don't know inner stillness because, in fact, they're not using their prefrontal cortex like the Zen master. So, in maximum uncertainty, they go to chaos and rigidity, and they're using yesterday's news because their 0-8-year-old is leading them, the adaptive child, with their erroneous and emotionally reactive ways of handling something. And that's with a child that has been ashamed because they were shamed, has revenge, has envy. Okay, so again, you'll meet Cusco anywhere in town when you got people who are not actively in the true perception of their own self, because a pause self, which is what a person who has not taken healing their childhood trauma seriously, or their emotional, mental, and physical plane to mature it, they're going to have an abused perception of events, of things. And so it's very clear. Let me pause. The frequency of perception supports our natural curiosity, moving us beyond our comfort zone to find the edges of what we perceive as real and to take a good, hard, deep look at it. Together, the lovely counterparts and securely attached men, women, and days, we bring that good perception, good prosperity, and that's because of being able to tap into the flow state. As the prefrontal stays online, you're attuning to yourself, to another, and you're not going to be resonating in a way that's going to destabilize you because you're trusting yourself and what you're picking up. Because you're a differentiated self who owns a sense of self, if somebody's in a bad mood, you're not affected by it. You will be able to talk about it with them, and that's the emotional maturity that comes with the functional inner child adult. And so it's not a sensitive ego, how dare you? It's more of, again, this is the practice that you begin. I began as a teenager thanks to having a mom who raised me to know what self-respect and self-love and how love is easy and kind, and it's also understanding, and that we all make mistakes, but that no mistake is really a mistake to say you don't love somebody, because what is it? So then love is on a, it's like, oh, how much little cord? So there's no conditions. There's healthy boundaries, yes, but that's something that an inner child adult knows how to talk about. Because the condition that the grown-ups who are not empowered feminines or empowered masculines, it's they're playing God. And they're playing a role that is something for a mystic that they don't have a right to play, because we get to go and vote and do things with the law. So when it comes to casting those stones, there's a very specific way a securely attached individual feel, which is, I'm not going to cast no stone. I'm going to let yourself know what's okay with me and what's not. And I will do so with my non-reactive nervous system. That's why I have good stress. And as I master this, I'm mastering, as a mystic mentor, again, spiritual awakening. Yeah, it's basically you have a whole self. And it means that you can be in the presence of somebody and at a certain point, way, shape, or form, like Sadhguru in his calmness, can laugh and do, then it's with an individual that you're sharing a relational field, which is very different, which is why when his inner engineering course, Sadhguru, no relationship is absolute, it is always variable. You have to conduct it well on a daily basis. Now, conducting well, let me read prosperity first. The frequency of prosperity supports our feeling of well-being by allowing the inclusion of everything that makes our body, mind, heart, soul, and spirit sing. It invites us to express ourselves in joy and celebration of the abundance and riches that the universe provides. You can have this when you have a perception that is clear, because you don't do the I don't want it, I want it now, and you're a person who understands with your human secondary consciousness that you give and take away meaning. This is why people that are attachment coaches tell those who they are supposed to try to motivate to get out of what is a unhealthy mechanism and bad for the it's bad stress chemistry. But they use the word boring. They use the word boring because inner stillness in their mind is boring. Well, it's not boring because your body is at ease. When you have emotionally mature, available men, women, theys who are completely cool with who they are, I'm at home. It's why some of those in the spirituality community tell you that you have no feelings when you're in a room with a twin flame or something like that. It's bullshit because you always have feelings, but what they're meaning is you're not leading with your visceral. And they don't know the words because they don't look into how your embodied brain works. So you will be of either restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating. That's why mindfulness, mindset practices help you to continue bringing more of well-being, good stress, because you're choosing to engage in your ventral vagal while somebody might be poking at you. So Sadhguru in his inner engineering program, he's like, okay, now that you've learned how to be all of this, go home. They're going to poke you. So it's why you're a shit. No, you're a shit. But being able to not take it personally, that is the maturity of when you are an inner child adult. Once you're there, you're still practicing it. Remember how the advanced of the inner growth program has neutrality and duality? So when I created that course, I had just been over that one. I was like, okay, that's really good, because since I'm the mentor and the teacher and the consultant and whatever other words the people will want to use, because see, to me, words don't mean I have to use words because I have to explain something, but I'm not fond of them. They don't always incorporate everything, and in fact, sometimes there's words that mean to me, I don't like them. They make no sense. Their sound makes no sense. Their definition makes no sense. It's not applicable. So the feminine is a feeling based, that's where we are okay with that. We don't need words. We are one with nature, which is also why we don't have a question with God or science. We don't question biology, because life always lives. This is the one thing that a blind faith, Holy Spirit woman can say. I find it very humorous, to say the least, when I see people who say they're of faith and you can read fear in every single inch of their eyes, and humanly speaking, the psychologist will tell you what that's called. Their human secondary consciousness, and I know they're not bilaterally integrated. So their left mode is all over this shit, and that means they're cut off from pure consciousness, purusha, unconditional love, and prakriti, pure energy. And basically, I got a person who has only the left mode going on like life is normal, who doesn't own their child parts, and who only will have those child parts come up in sensations, images, those experiences that Bessel van der Kolk said. So unless you become aware, accountable, regulating your tone, your mannerisms, your emotions, and say, I am going to achieve that inner stillness, and disengage from every single one of those stereotypes that people will come up with in stories, So that's a side note, but the point is, as a person of faith, I don't question because I don't have fear of what I learned, because I did learn and said yes to Holy Spirit. And when I expanded with Claire's, I already knew the situation, because it's not the medieval times. So no, I'm not anointed. And those people who continue to be disrespectful to yoga, Reiki, tarot, to Akashic record readers, to every single one of us who's spiritual, they're disrespectful because of the stupidity that they decided to do with words. Because see, to me, you're a stupid idiot if you need to be so consistently in this black and white thinking. You don't know how to have a fun time. You also don't know how to be a person who brings everything together and then notices the big picture. And you know who is stupid? It's the masculine, because that's the only people who, excuse me, are confusing shit. I'm not confusing shit. If you look into something with a consilience approach, you're going to notice that there are ways that things can come together. So anybody who's emotionally, mentally, and physically mature is intelligent, and if they're intrigued intellectually to get to know things like I am, they will notice the limited nature of every ego in town. The minute I was a teenager, I started seeing it. As a grown-up, I completely disengaged from any of it, because only if you have an intellectually curious human being will they be supporting themselves to get more curious versus being egoically rigid and wanting to keep things organized because of them not being able to be curious. So if you're not curious, you're going to be rigid, and rigidity doesn't bring expansion. But for those of us who are curious, we expand and we remember. So the frequency of remembrance, the empowered feminine does remember that the memory of everything that we have gone through as a soul in the body, yes, provides us with valuable information and tools to flow gracefully with and in this life. And so when somebody's an empowered masculine, they will remember who they are. If they don't believe in soul, obviously they're going to be basically a whole self that has integration of the brain, restorative embodiment. They're self-aware, accountable, regulating. So I'm going to bring it to you. So they know the flow state. They can put all this into practice that we do. And you subscribe to the paid subscription-based model content on Fanbase or Spotify or other favorite podcast platforms. So with that being said, as we keep moving forward, I'm going to try to make sure I understand that we're securely attached, non-traumatized people, because the people who disregard getting their emotional, mental, and physical body into wholeness are the very same people who act like buffoons and follow idiots and then don't even notice that these idiots are really there for a whole other set of things that I'm not going to talk about right now. And it's not that they're idiots because of something of the kind of they don't know how to tell you information. They can tell me information. They don't know long term. And then they don't know how to notice where their implicit or explicit biases and their charges and all the shit that's theirs is tainting it. So they don't know how to organize things effectively. And empowered feminine knows how to organize everything, because our left mode isn't going into shithole because it's saying, no, I can't do it. Because maximum uncertainty isn't going to freak us out. Because that's where in the awareness state, our focus attention is, hey, what's up? Because we're friends with our left and right. So securely attached people have their integrated brain, their restorative embodiment self, they're aware, accountable, and regulating, and so they can express with their counterparts and with others that which makes them who they are. And in time, this is the beauty of building those healthy self-worth and empowering relationships. And so every relationship we know can poke at us, but it's not really poking. It's giving us the opportunity to stand and say, as a 3-year-old, but not with the teenager tone, as you get older, yeah, this is who I am. And the more equanimous you are, the more fun you are having, by the way. And this is our future, thankfully, because we have smart therapists who are teaching the kids as they grow up, and the older generation and the middle ones, right? So we're all in it, the mindfulness living community, with mysticism and spirituality, and bringing it all in, and leaving alone 3D 4D collective who are just continuing what they're continuing. We don't have to mention to them anything. They already know. They like to dismantle every smart piece of information, and then they create groups, and then they go and do their thing. And they do stuff like this. I am free of all prejudice. I hate everyone equally. W.C. Fields. Now, this is something that I have and I purchased, but I don't actively hate anyone personally because it's a big word. But I definitely can know the frustration when people are not expanding. So, last quote before we go, Sadhguru, what your consciousness is intensely focused on is what will manifest in your life and in the world around you. So we'll continue talking about our empowered counterparts, empowered masculines, empowered feminines, me as a feminine, giving you my mystic enlightenment soul age group, inner child adult experiences, and more, and supporting those who want to do personal development, one-to-one mentorship. You email me. There's a sign up for our future masterclass and a sign up for the spiritual retreats and workshops, which also are not yet dated, but again, starting to get the list organized. And in the meantime, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.